Welcome to Nick on Knicks, where your boy N.I.C rants about the latest Knicks game. I'm officially concerned. I know it's 7 games into the season. I was one of the people preaching in the preseason that don't be surprised if this team starts out a little bit slow. We got new pieces. They got to figure things out. And Tom Thibodeau teams typically start slow. I was one of the people saying that before the season started. And this is a very weird road trip where we zigzag the country. Doesn't make much sense. Typically, the NBA does not do that. And this was the last game of a road trip, which is always a tough one for teams across the NBA for as long as I can remember. With all that being said, I'm starting to get a little bit nervous about this team. I'm especially nervous about the lack of identity that I see that we have, or just definitely not the identity that we've gotten used to with this team since it's been under Tom Thibodeau. That's a team that plays hard defense. That's a team that gets offensive rebounds and that is going to battle. A team that seems to always win the 50-50 balls. Not this team so far this year. It's not what we've seen. This team gets dictated to from the very beginning. My first note of the night, not aggressive enough on D. You could see it right out the gate. The Atlanta Hawks were getting whatever they wanted. Trae Young comes up. They do a pick and roll. We're in drop coverage. He either cashes a three or he gets downhill on our big, gets him going back. And then when the big does come up, he can dish it off. Trae Young didn't kill us tonight. But this is another theme that we've seen throughout the early part of this season. This first 7 games is all of the drop coverage. And against guys like Trae Young, against Tatum, we saw it. Against Donovan Mitchell. These guys are going to be able to pull up and hit that three with regularity. I know that is a Tom Thibodeau staple. This is one of those places, Tibbs, where I need you to evolve. I love Tibbs. I am so pro Tibbs. He's the best coach that we have had since Jeff Van Gundy, and I don't think it's even close. I was glad when we rewarded him with the 3-year contract extension this past offseason. I got a couple issues with Tibbs tonight. And I got a couple issues with Tibbs overall so far and how we are utilizing this roster. But I'll get to that here in a little bit. The Knicks come out, and from the very beginning, the two things that have driven me nuts is we have no consistency when it comes to our intensity of our defense. We cannot consistently get stops or force people into tough shots. Everything looks so easy for them, and everything was looking so hard for us. Our offense is swing the ball around until either basically, just about whoever gets it, and now the shot clock's down a little bit, and whoever it is, they either have to hoist up a three or they have to go one-on-one. If they beat their man, then sometimes we get into some good action where, we pass, swing, and somebody attacks a swing, or we start cutting back door at that point. But quite often, it ends up just being a tough, contested one-on-one shot. And sometimes it's with the ball barely moving, especially late game when Brunson has it. But we'll get into that as well. Very tough start of the season to Brunson. There is no way around being honest. And this is our captain, okay? This is our savior, Jalen Marquise Brunson, but he has not handled end of games well in this season, especially in these last 3 losses. The first loss was to the Celtics. That game was over in the first quarter. But I'm concerned, man. I'm concerned, especially about the identity part. Karl Anthony Towns is a fantastic basketball player. He had a great night tonight. Cat had a easy and efficient 34 points, a monster on the glass, 16 boards, made all 7 of his free throws, 5 of 9 from downtown, had an assist, had a block, great block. That felt like the turning point of the game. We get that block. It's overturned. It's a block that he has on was I think it was on Trae Young. But yeah, he gets up to the top, he blocks the shot. They call it a goaltend. It gets reviewed. We get the ball back. We feel like we got some momentum going. And I want to say it was that very next play that we came down and Brunson, they actually ran a pick and roll, the two of them, which I if anybody could explain to me why we're not running at least 25 pick and rolls between Karl Anthony Towns and Jalen Brunson every single game, and why we never run it in the fourth quarter at all, it can anyone explain that to me, please? It's our two best players running one of the oldest actions in the history of basketball, and it's them doing something that they both do well, and we barely run it. We barely run it. It's so frustrating. I don't get why we don't. We get good shots. If you get it to Karl Anthony Towns and he has a guy who is trying to recover from a pick on him, he is going to kill him. Then if you start trying to do that and now you want to leave that big on Brunson, Brunson's going to cook him. But we refuse to do it. At the end, we run this silly ISO ball bullshit. And they actually ran a pick and roll. I'm almost sure it was the play immediately after Karl Anthony Towns got the block and then we got the overturn. We run the pick and roll and Cat is on the wing. He's wide open and Brunson goes and basically just like loses the ball, but it goes off them. It goes out of bounds. We retain possession, but Cat was right there. Brunson, I need you still to be more of a facilitator. Brunson, you had 4 assists tonight. You can't have 4 assists in a game. You can't. Brunson had 21 points. He was 8 of 18. He continues to struggle from the floor compared to what we typically see from him. He was 4 of 11. His pump fake, he needs to, when he gets into the paint, go up and just shoot that little shot. That little lefty shot, just go up and shoot it. Because right now, when you're pump faking, the league has learned that initial pump fake, you have to stay on your feet with Jalen Brunson or you're done. So now, anybody who's a decent defender, that's what they're doing. And they're going to continue to put size on Brunson. This guy, Dyson Daniels, he's a good defender. And he did a very, very good job of guarding Brunson. Trae Young was questionable coming into the game, but obviously he played and played well. He had 23 points, 10 boards. Hey, whatever the Knicks trivia was, other players that have played at least however many years and average 25 points and over 9 assists. And the two people are Trae Young and Oscar Robinson. I'm not a Trae Young guy. As we know, as a Knicks fan over here, is fuck Trae Young. But whenever you're on a list with just you and the Big O, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. And he was really dictating in the fourth quarter, getting good shots for himself or for his teammates. They shot wide open threes and dunks what seemed like all game. We get killed in the paint once again. And it's not Cat. Cat is playing good defense. I haven't seen a guy box out as much as he does because it's not like he's getting high off the ground. He's big, but he gets a lot of his rebounds by boxing out strong. He does a good job with that. He definitely has so far in this young season. And, he carried his weight on the offensive end, but the defense, 121 points. This is a team that's giving up 130 a game, and we only get 116. And other than Karl Anthony Towns, nobody does much on offense. Josh Hart gives you 14 points, 2 of 4. That's good for Josh Hart. I'm with that. 8 boards, 1 on the offensive side. He got a steal. He got a block. What seems like the only player on our team that plays with some toughness. Like a point is when Brunson gets slapped on his wrist late, and I'm pretty sure that was by Dyson Daniels. He slaps him on the wrist, and then from there, Brunson gets a little angry. He looks at the ref. He looks at him, whatever. But we don't have anybody that's just gonna go like step up into that guy and act like he's getting in between them, but give that guy like a bit of a shove and a forearm to the point where he's like, "Yo, what the fuck?" We don't have anybody who does that on this team. Julius was that guy. Dante was that guy. Karl Anthony Towns is a better basketball fit, but have we totally lost our identity by losing those players? I'm honestly, this is not an indictment of Cat. This is a Knicks team that needs to wake the fuck up and start playing basketball with some intensity and with some ability to affect the other players and not let them just get whatever fucking shot they want. What is happening that this guy Zachary, I don't even like trying to say his last it's one of those names I just look at it and I always feel like I'm going to mess it up. It's probably going to take me a couple years to hear enough people say it. So I just call him Zachary, okay? He's the number 1 overall pick, and he hadn't scored more than 17 points a game. Well, tonight he had his best game of the season, 33 points, 6 of 10 from behind the arc, and all of them were wide open. 11 of 18 overall. Yeah, he was 5-9 from the free throw line. He needs to hit his free throws. But I also thought he played good defense. He had 7 boards. He had 3 assists. He had 3 steals, 2 blocks. Clearly, by far, the best game of his young career. What do you know? Of course, it happens against the Knicks. Jalen Johnson, 23 points, 7 boards. 15 boards for Jalen Johnson, 7 assists. Jesus, that's a great floor game right there. 23, 15, and 7 from Jalen Johnson. The ball was moving. They were getting whatever they wanted. How is it that this rookie comes in and busts our ass like this? OG. Bridges. They call y'all y'all Wingstop? Y'all was some boneless wings tonight. Some boneless wings. Some chicken nuggets. Because we're letting rookies get off on us like that. And it's infuriating because I'm not seeing either of these guys make an impact on the defensive end. OG had a couple plays. OG had a play end of the third quarter. He guards the whole play by himself, but then nobody helps the helper. So therefore, they then end up getting a tap at the very end that goes in. I thought it should have been a goaltend. Clyde felt the same way. The guy was hanging on the rim. They can't review that. He did get it off on time. And so they got that last bucket of the third quarter. I think that led to it being tied when we went into the fourth. And I saw that play by OG. There's a couple other plays, but like when some of these other guys are just like getting off and doing their thing, like none of these guys are just like, okay, hold on. I got him. And that shit is over. Bridges did that to Tyler Hero in the Heat game. These last 2 games down the stretch, I have watched the opposite teams, whether it be Jalen Green, whether it be, this guy Zachary or your boy Trae Young. These guys are getting whatever they want late in games. And it doesn't seem like we're doing anything to try to make it difficult for them in the slightest. It's so frustrating. What is happening right now with the identity of this New York team? This is not New York Knicks basketball. They got to get this figured out, and they got to get it figured out quick. We got to figure out a way to get a few more minutes out of the Koliks of the world. Deuce played well. He was 5 of 9. 4 of 6 from behind the arc. He had 16 points, 7 assists. Deuce had a very good game. Bounce back game after going 0 of 9 in that previous game in Houston. Bridges offensively tonight, he's only 4 of 10. To me, it was a lot of pull-up 3. He had 7 of his 10 attempts were 3-point shots. He made only 2 of those 7. I thought a lot of them were rushed. I'd like to see him put the ball on the floor, get to the basket, be a little bit more of a playmaker. Brunson, he had that one game where he had 36. And even in that game, I was like, he's missing some shots he typically hits. And tonight, I did not love how Brunson played. I didn't. I got to be honest. I'm gonna call it like it is. He had what? Okay, 3 turnovers. I thought I saw 0 turnovers. I was like, there's no way he had 0 turnovers. He had 3 turnovers. A couple of them were brutal, coming out of timeouts. And honestly, the turning point of that game, the time where the leverage and score changed, was when Brunson missed the free throw. Brunson missed his free throw. Clint Capella, a guy who's notoriously a horrible free throw shooter, he goes to the line, calmly knocks down 2. I thought that was right. Well, as soon as that happened, I was like, Brunson just missed 1, and then Clint Capella gets both. I'm one of them people where I'm like, don't say it out loud. I'll try my best to not to almost cut off the thought, but I must admit, when that happened, I was like, man, this ain't gonna go our way. Kolek came in, made 2 threes, both of his attempts. Okay, I think Kolek's got to get a few more minutes. I think he's got a few more minutes. Give Brunson less, just so I think it's early in the season. These guys don't fully have their legs yet. I know that we have injuries. We need Precious back so bad. We really, the loss of Precious and Shamet has really put this entire rotation and the who's playing and who's not. It's really put under a microscope, and we miss a campaign as well. Campaign, they say it's something that's short term, but he's now missed 2 straight games. The next game will be Friday against Milwaukee back in the Garden, little Friday night Knicks. And the Knicks are going to be looking to get, they're going to be looking to right the ship against a Milwaukee team that's come out and very much disappointed so far this season. Man, this is a tough one, man. It's one of those games where it's over and it's just like, these next couple days, it's going to be a couple times where I think about this game and I'm just going to be like, my West Indian folk, especially y'all back in Brooklyn, about sucking your teeth, man. I can't do it like my grandmother though. Man, this is a very, very tough loss. I'm very disappointed in what I saw from the Knicks. I do not like what I have seen from the Knicks here recently, especially in our most recent 3 losses. Jericho Sims gets 10 minutes, 0 field goals attempted. At least once a game, it seems that he dribbles the ball out of the paint. I don't get it, Sims. You're the biggest guy on the floor and the most athletic guy on the floor, and you want to dribble out of the paint. Go up and dunk the fucking ball. But no minutes for Dadier, Puck Porty, Matt Ryan, Jacob Toppin, all DMP coaches' decisions. And the Hawks, man, they got a balanced effort. They had 1, 2, 3, 4, 3 guys with at least 20 points, 4 guys with at least 18. Clint Capella always kills the Knicks. Always. He's always going to have some blocks, some offensive rebounds. He's catching oops from Trey. I this offseason, I heard a rumor about us possibly bringing him in as a backup big man. And I was like, absolutely. I love Clint Capella's game. He's so solid. He always kills the Knicks. I can't stand Clint Capella, man. Can't stand when we play against Atlanta and knowing I'm going to deal with that motherfucker because he gets us. Hart had a confident stroke. I thought when he got the ball, he put it up. Karl Anthony Towns, one of my biggest things for him is unless he catches it with a guy who's much smaller than him and not as strong as him, and it's within like 5 feet, I need him to turn and face the basket. The thing that puts him at such an advantage is his height and his ability to shoot. So when he takes the ball and he turns to the basket, you have to get up in him. If you don't, he's just going to hit that shot. I would have liked to see us go to him a little bit more down the stretch, though it's not like some of these other games that we've seen recently where he only ends up having like 2 shots in the fourth. He had 8 shots in the fourth. He went 4 of 8, hit a big 3 that really felt like, we went and we didn't just keep catching up. We didn't just keep getting close like we did against Houston. We actually went ahead and got the lead, and that was on the back of Towns. But, then down the stretch, we went to Jalen Brunson ISO ball, and, Jalen Brunson ISO ball kicking it to Towns for a 3 in the corner with bad balance, as Monica McNutt said in the postgame, because she was sitting right behind him. I hated that shot. I hated that possession. There's 2 possessions in a row. One, Brunson dribble, shoot a contested 3 with a bigger guy in your face. And then, Brunson dribble, kick it to Cat at the end of the shot clock. He's got to put up a corner 3 where when he releases it, he's probably closer to the baseline in the basket, behind the basket that way, fading out of bounds, bad balance. And, it still, of course, draws iron because it's Cat. But I hated those possessions. Why can't we run a pick and roll between Brunson and Cat in the crunch? I don't get it. Tom Thibodeau, please explain this to me. I'm begging you. I love you, Tibbs. You my guy. But just maybe once, try it. Just once. I don't know, man. I don't know. Tough night, tough loss. Knicks, I really could have used a dub from y'all tonight, man. I really could have used a dub from y'all tonight for sure. First half, we score 61 points. Pretty good, right? They score 64. The defense, you can't give up 64 points in a fucking half. Not in the first half against the Hawks. Come on, man. We got guys that come in struggling, and they all getting right against the Knicks. The drop coverage, Tibbs, you have to make an adjustment. Karl-Anthony Towns guarding Trae Young, drop coverage on a pick and roll so he can just step into a 3 is, it's borderline insanity to have that be, and it's clear that that's the game plan. It's not Cat is doing some stupid shit on his own that Tibbs is saying, dude, why are you doing that? That's not that. That is the game plan. That was the game. We saw it from game 1, play 1 against Jason Tatum. And we know that Tibbs prefers drop coverage. You cannot do that against some of these guys in this league. Look at what Brunson does against drop coverage. The only way, if you guard anybody that it's in that top tier, first team, second team, those type of guys, you guard them the same way all the time, and especially drop coverage and let them dictate, they're going to kill you. The way that people bother Brunson is they put size on him. Sometimes they blitz. Sometimes they drop. Sometimes they hedge. That's how you have to do it. We're way too predictable on offense and defense right now. And you have to lay that at the feet of the head coach. Again, I love Tibbs. I'm not saying anything about how I don't want him to be the coach, how this and that. No, I'm saying that I'm being honest. I give him his flowers when he deserves them. Right now, them flowers are a little thorny. We got a couple thorns we need to shear off of those, tighten it up. 7 games in, we're 3-4. You know what I saw from Tibbs today that I liked, that I've been critical of his previously? We had two different inbound plays that led to easy shots. That's something you typically never see. And so I did like that. Oh, the very first play of the second half, we turned the ball over. So frustrating. We had 14 threes in the first half. One other note about the first half, 14 threes in the first half, which tied a Knicks record, and we went into the half down by 3. Just too much ISO ball, man. There's not enough action. There's not enough off-ball action. I understand that Brunson and Towns can get off in some ISO, and there's some times where that makes sense, but it can't be the end-all be-all. And we got to run more pick and roll. I want to see Brunson getting picks from Bridges. I want to see Brunson getting picks from Cat, those two specifically. Get Brunson a little space, get him going downhill, and get him switched to a big on him. He's so good at manipulating that, but Brunson's got to be a little bit more decisive on offense and stop with the getting into the guys are staying with them, and then these guys passing it out, and he's not getting an advantage. You got to go in and just pull up and hit that on guys a couple times and keep them honest. Keep them honest so that they can't continue to just stay home on your pump fake, because right now, that's the book out on you. Right now, Brunson with that pump fake is like Ike Davis with the breaking ball at the back foot. The book came out on you. You got to make the adjustment. Brunson will. I'm not worried about Brunson. Brunson will get it. He'll figure it out. But he's got to be put in a better position. And, hey, listen, if Tom Thibodeau was telling them, I want you guys to move the ball and run pick and roll in, late game clutch situations, and I want you running at least 25 pick and rolls a game, and they're just not doing it. They're just bucking and just not doing it. And that's one thing. I don't think that's true. I don't think he's telling them that right now, and he fucking needs to. Tom Thibodeau has forgotten more about basketball than I will ever know. I don't claim to be any sort of expert or savant. I've been watching this game and this team my entire life. It seems so clear to me. And the people I talk to a lot, my pops, the people in my the most elite and official group chat for the New York Knicks on Twitter, we all talk about the fact that where are the pick and rolls? Why are we running just ISO Brunson pound the ball? It looks exactly like Melo in the Woodson era down the stretch offense. And I hate it with every bone in my body. It's so that watching this game today was one of the more frustrating. Watching this game have no defensive intensity and identity, watching us play just zero type of team ball and get no offensive rebounds. It was gross. It was gross. It's not New York basketball. It's not what I have become accustomed to seeing. What I finally have gotten back in my life here recently, starting with Julius, then Brunson, and this team that we have. And now there's a small part of me that's getting nervous that says, yo, did we fuck it all up? I know Karl Anthony Towns is great. Tonight he was great. It wasn't enough. Him having great numbers and playing well, the team has to have an identity. And I think we can have that with him on the team. We have to just look ourselves in the mirror and figure out what the fuck we want to be and what we want to do. We played with zero force and zero edge 2 nights in a row. The younger team that looked more athletic, and this is the B team, by the way, for the Hawks. They're missing some of their best players. Bogdanovich was out, and they had another big injury too. Who else do the Hawks have out? Because, man, come on, man, Knicks. This is the Atlanta Hawks, yo. We got to take care of business against teams like this. This is the type of shit that later in the season now, you're trying to get into a seed and now you can't, sit back and rest guys and get them right for the playoffs. And come on, man. You got to take care of business against this Hawks team. And the Knicks didn't do that tonight. It was clear from the beginning. It did not get better. They won all the 50-50, 50-50 balls. I thought that Josh Hart was one of the few people, once again, second game in a row, where I feel like he's showing a little bit of passion. Cat, too. Bodega Cat. He was showing passion, and Bodega Cat was playing hard. Again, he was a monster on the glass. Monster on the glass, played good, strong defense, and clearly was our best offensive weapon tonight, our most efficient offensive weapon, and our most prolific offensive weapon. Tough night, tough L. Knicks, they lose to the Rockets, 121-116. They come home on Friday. They play the Milwaukee Bucks. They look to get right on Friday night. Knicks, hopefully they can do a little bit of soul searching between now and then. Hopefully Tom Thibodeau can, look at this offense and this defense and realize that there are X's and O's adjustments we need to make. We need to get out of the drop coverage against elite ball handlers and shooters. And we need to run more pick and rolls with Jalen Brunson and Karl Anthony Towns. Seems simple, right? This is Nick on Knicks. Peace.